Welcome back. In this video, we are going to cover basics of sets, which are unique data structures with interesting properties. Let's begin our journey into sets by looking at how to create sets, how to read data from them, and how to remove data from them. The first way to create a set is to use set method. In Python, you can use the built-in set function to create set. The function takes either an iteratable or sequence like tuple, list, and strings or all sequences. Use the set method to define the sets named A or B like this. So we say A equal to set, and then we pass in iteratable like 1, 2, and 3. Let's save the file, and I'm going to print A, and let's run the code. Now we get back 1, 2, 3 in a set. We will create another set. We define a variable b equal to set, and now I'm going to use tuple. So we use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to save it. Let's print b and then run the code. Now you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here we define a list of numbers to the set, and then we define tuples to the b. Now I'm gonna check the type of b, so we'll do a print type b. Let's run the code, and now you can see you get class as set. So b is a type of set. We can check for a as well, so use the type function, pass in a, run the code, and now we get that as set as well. So both b and a is a set. For the first, we define a list, and then for the b, we define a tuple. Another way is to use curly brackets notation to create a set directly. Now we are going to create a set C. So let's just do C variable, use a curly brackets notation. Let's say 1, 2, 3, save the file, and let's just print C as well. Save it, and I'm going to print the type of C. And then we don't need to print the type of A and B for now. Let's run the code. Now we get back type as set, and then we're printing C here. Okay, so the two ways that you can create set using a set method function or using curly brackets notation. Now let's take a look at some functions or methods on set to add data to the set. So we have a set from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to use b.add function, and I'm going to pass in 6. Save the file and run the code. Now we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So add function can be used to add a value to the set. Now if I change the value 6 to, let's just say 5, save the file, run the code. Now we get C5. Of course, since this is a set, adding a value more than once will not change the set. The item will only appear once. Also use update method to add items to the set by using iteratables. Use the update method to pass a list of values. So for example, I would like to add more than one value, so I'll do b.update, and we can use a list, say 6, 7, 8, 9, and we get to see that our B set is being updated with the value 6, 7, 8. For example, if I add 5 here as well, let's run the code. You can see the 5 only appear once. Now, how do we read data from set? Set objects do not support indexes, so you can access values from using indexes, like you could do in a list or in a tuple. So let's take a look at how we can read data from a set. Now we're going to be using a for loop to iterate through a set, and then we get the value one by one. So I would like to remove print statement, give a line, use for, and I'm going to use num in b. Okay, we use a print statement. I'm gonna use num as print. Let's run the code, and there we go. We get to print 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Now we can use the pop method to remove and return an item from the set. Items are removed from beginning of the set. So if I use a pop method, let me just comment this for loop, and I use b.pop, and then we print b. I'm going to save the file and run the code. Now you get to see that value 1 is no longer available because it's been popped. Sets have more utility in the actions that we can perform on them. This means that finding things like union and intersection of items in sets give us more insight into the data they hold. We have functions to add data to the set, and we definitely have some methods of function to remove data from the sets as well. There are other ways to remove data from set without using pop function, especially if you just want to remove the data and not return it. So let's use some function. So I'm going to remove this pop function. I'll type b.remove, and this remove will take an element that we want to remove. So for example, if we want to remove 5, let's save the file and return the code, and you can see we get back 1 2 3 4 6 7 8 and 5 has been removed. Well, that's great. So if I type a value which does not exist, for example 10, and run the code, that gives us key error as well. So basically it's saying 10 does not exist in a set. You can use discard method for comparison. Discard does not raise a key error if the item does not exist. So let's use discard method and run the code. Now we can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and we didn't get the key error. Next function that we have for set is a clear, which removes all the data from the set. So if I use b.clear, save the file, run the code, and now when we print b, it simply type set empty. So no value exists in set b.